Okay, good day everyone. I'm gonna show you how I did the practice with dataset from our module 2 in statistical methods in nursing. So it's just gonna be a short run through lang. So the first thing you need to do is you need to open the clinical learning experience in Jamovi. Now, when you press this link, you will be redirected to this website. No, it's a Google Doc form. You can download the file as either XLSS or an Excel file or a CSV file. I would recommend that you download it as a CSV file because an Excel file is not able, no, it is not compatible with Jamovi. So ganyan, it's quite understandable, no. The next one is this data set. Now, what is this data set? This data set represents the results of this specific study. So for example, PE1, the column PE1 represents the results from this question. The staff were easy to approach. PE2, I felt comfortable going to the ward at the start of my shift. That is the result of that. No? So, and so on and so forth until we reach the end of this survey. That is it. No? So the first instruction is that we need to run descriptives for columns E to AL. Now, it's very difficult to see the columns because there is no labels for each columns, but basically each column is a letter. So this one is column A, this one is column B, this one is column C, D, and this one is column E. So this is where we are gonna start running our descriptives. And we should run our descriptives from column E up until column AL. Now, this is the weird part about Jamovi kasi Jamovi does not have an option or a setting, or at least I haven't found it yet, that allows us to show, no, the column letters. However, if you check this file on Microsoft Excel, you can actually see that PE1 is column E. And then you can see that the last column is actually column AL. So we are going to run descriptives for these values. Now, how do we do that? First is we go to our analysis and then exploration, then press descriptives. After which we will move our variables, which is our PE1 up until RSMT underscore 3 to our variables side. Okay? Yan. And then automatically, no, it will show us or give us results of our descriptive. So as here, we can see, no, per column, the median for PE1 or the mean for PE1, the mean for PE2. This is what basically our descriptives no being done. So ganyan, it's quite easy actually. Now the hard part, or I would say the more difficult part, is this next one. Recode PE1. This is the question that was connected to PA1. Basically, what it's asking for is analysis. Now, or not analysis, it's interpretation na. So, if the score is 1 to 3.0, then we should assign low pedagogical atmosphere. If it is 3.01 to 5.0 or higher, then high pedagogical atmosphere. And how do we do this? There are two main methods that I found to be worth it, no, or at least understandable or easy to do. So the first method that I found is that we could just simply highlight PE1 and then set it up. Okay, and here at the levels we can find the current values that are present in this variable, and we can just manually change it. So we know that 0, 1, and 2 is low pedagogical atmosphere. So I'm just gonna type here low pedagogical atmosphere. Okay, and here again low pedagogical atmosphere. And as you can see, you know, the variables that are from 0 to 3, because there are no one variables in the dataset, unfortunately, were transformed into our interpretation, which is low pedagogical atmosphere. And you can actually see here the score that is that was recently contained. Okay, and if you change the 4, we can say high pedagogical atmosphere, and all of those will also be changed. it is now recoded into a literal interpretation. Okay, so we can do something like that. However, another method that we can use is the wait. Yan. Another method that we can use is the transform. Okay? The transform. So what no compute. Compute. How this works is it is more similar to coding. So when you press transform, okay, again, I'm gonna do it again so that you can see. I will highlight PE1 and then I will press compute. Compute pala, not transform. I will press compute. Okay? And then when I press compute, it will create a new column. Now I can rename this column something like recoded PE underscore 1. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a formula that will tell the system what to do. Now this formula, if you are familiar with coding, is a formula called if, no? So basically what we're gonna type is like this, no? I'm gonna explain the formula for you, okay? If PE1, the value in PE1 is greater or less than 3 point, oh no, let's change it, no? Greater than, greater than 3.01, 3.01, then it will assign a high pedagogical score. Assign a high pedagogical score. Then, if it is not qualify for our what we call criteria, which is greater than 3.01, it will be assigned a low pedagogical score. And then when I press enter, as you can see, all of the values 4 and 5 are given high pedagogical score at the side, and then 3 and below are given low pedagogical score. Now, I would recommend using this method because this method will actually show you two columns, both of the columns at the same time, and you are allowed to compare. However, if the previous one, the one where we just set it up and manually change it, is much easier for you to understand, then go for it, no? And then lastly is letter C, generate a frequency table for the recorded value. So that's basically what we do here is we just press this one, which is our recorded PE, no? And then we go to exploration, descriptives again, and then we are gonna put our recorded PE into our variables. And then we are gonna press this box called frequency tables, and as you can see, it will show you that 71.5% of the values were high pedagogical score and low for 28.5 of it. And basically that is step number 2, or practice with a data set. No? Thank you for listening to this short video.